Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to A Cow's Opinion. No, this show did not pass on across the river Styx. It's just been a Thanksgiving holiday and a bunch of new games and all kinds of stuff, man. Taking up all the bandwidth. YouTube doesn't like if you post too many videos, but we are back. And man, we're going to be sprinting to the end of the year. So hit the like button and the subscribe button down there. Let's see if we can get to 500 before the end of the year. And if not, we'll get there soon. But I have missed you. Guys, we have games coming out. Guys, we have news coming out. I'm staying indoors because it's cold. Yeah, you thought you knew where I was going with that, but you didn't. So, here we are on A Cow's Opinion, and it's an actual, really cool debate that I would love to have with you guys down in the comments. And let me know, because the Game Awards recently announced what games are being nominated for the various awards. And Geoff Keighley is actually weighing in because there's a bit of a controversy on one of those choices. Dave the Diver has qualified for Best Indie Game. But Dave the Diver was published by a billion-dollar publisher, which is a little unusual for an indie game. So let's take a look at it down there, guys. But the host and producer, Geoff Keighley, has shared his thoughts on this debate. So, the Game Awards stuff all came out. You might have seen a couple of YouTubers. I saw Jesse Cox go through them, give his reasoning on why he thinks such and such is going to win or lose. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. It's always fun to just go back after the actual Game Awards and see who was right, who was wrong. But the question now is, what makes an indie game? Because despite having that cool indie game aesthetic, the game Dave the Diver is developed by Mint Rocket, It's a small team, but it's within Nexon, the South Korean company that made $1.8 billion in 2021. That doesn't exactly scream indie. So during a recent Q&A session on Twitch, Keighley was asked for his thoughts on the nomination. And he admits that it's kind of hard. He says, look, it's a great question. Independent can mean different things to different people, and it's sort of a broad term. You can argue, does independent mean the budget of the game? Does independent mean where the source of financing was? Does it mean the team size? Is it the kind of independent spirit of the game, meaning a smaller game that's sort of different? I think everyone has their own opinions about this, and we really defer to our jury of 120 global media outlets who vote on these awards to make that determination of is something independent or not. You know, in other industries, sometimes there are things, I think in the film industry, the budget can't be above this amount of dollars, or it's not independent, so I don't know. Some people have said Larian with Baldur's Gate 3, that's an independent game. Kojima Productions with Death Stranding, some people say that's an independent game. And even though that's an independent studio, of course, it's funded by PlayStation. And he also pointed out that other games in the category have publishers and asked the question, if you have a publisher, is that still independent or not? Not right now. So we did have some tweets coming up with this. For this, it's Aaron, who I believe is with the game, has been replying to Game Over Greg, which is Greg Miller. He's with Kinda Funny. I understand both sides of the argument, but I do feel the term best indie game is more of a look and feel these days than a semantic over definition. And Greg is responding, look, I respect your opinion, Aaron, but this is such a crazy argument to me. So if Naughty Dog set aside a 10-person team to make a pixel art 2D side-scroller, we'd put them in this category? I think you gotta change the name of the category if that's the case. We also have the actual tweet that came out. The Game Awards is December 7th, and I always watch. They have cool trailers, and it's really fun to see. But here they have the 5 games that were released, which is, by the way, I'm loving Sea of Stars. I've heard great things about Dredge. Cocoon is beautiful. I don't know a lot about Viewfinder, but of course Dave the Diver, the one about the controversy, is here. The readers have added this contrast. Dave the Diver is not an indie game. Mint Rocket, the game's developer, is a subsidiary of Korea's biggest game developer, Nexon. They are not independent in any sense of the word. And then we have Tyler Glale. I apologize if I messed up your name. There is no reasonable definition of independent game that could possibly apply to Dave the Diver. Not too late to swap that with Pizza Tower. So, yeah, a lot of people have a lot of thoughts. And look, nobody's actually saying anything too crazy. I mean, I disagree with Aaron that indie is more of a look and feel these days. No, indie means small developer to me. Now, I don't know if what the dollar amount is on the budget or the team size, or if you're just not allowed to have a publisher that's a huge AAA publisher. But I disagree with Aaron respectfully. Indie developer is like pornography. You know it when you see it. Now, Dave the Diver is a great game. I don't want you guys to think that I'm bashing Dave the Diver. But it did have the advantage of having a lot of support from a massive publisher if they needed it. So, addressing that, Jeff says, that game is made by a group called Mint Rocket. It's a smaller game from a smaller group, but it's part of Nexon. They're employees of Nexon, which is a very large publisher. So I think it's a fair debate and discussion. Is that game truly independent, or is it not? And you can kind of argue it either way. It's independent in spirit, and it's a small game. I don't know what the budget is, but it's probably relatively a small budget game. But it is from a larger entity, whereas other games on the list are from much smaller studios. But even something like Dredge is published by Team 17. So is that independent or not because you have a publisher? It's a really complicated thing to figure out and come up with strict rules around it. So we let people use their best judgment, and you can agree or disagree with the choices. But the fact that Dave the Diver was on that list meant that out of all the independent games that the jury looked at, or what they thought were independent games, that was one of the top 5 they looked at this year. So, what is Cal's opinion? I guess the best way to go about my opinion, and thank you to Video Games Chronicles' Chris Scullion for the article. He took the time to get all that quotes from Jeff, who is the guy behind the Game Awards, so his opinion does matter. I would say that to be an indie studio, in my opinion, you can disagree, and it's okay. I'm not the end-all be-all yet. Wait until I get all the viewers. But I would say that the thing is this. If you have, your budget is probably going to be smaller. You're not going to have Call of Duty money. And your team size is probably smaller. I would say it's okay to have a big publisher. Games like It Takes Two are published by EA, but they're made by that independent publisher guy who makes all those cool games. So it's okay to have a bigger publisher, but the reason why I disagree with Dave the Diver being considered an indie game and not just a big publisher making their version of what an indie game would look like is because it's actually made by a team, Mint Rocket, who is within Nexon, the company. So Mint Rocket is owned by them. So they're not an indie developer. They're owned by the biggest South Korea developer. And because of that, because you're owned by a massive company, and that massive company can look at what you're doing and be like, oh my god, Mint Rocket is doing this is fantastic. Let's put another 100 people and quadruple the budget and make this a AAA, maybe even just an A game. An indie developer does not have that, even though, say, like, Dredge is published by Team 17, but I don't think that Team 17 owns the developer behind Dredge. So they are not really going to be as eager to back it. I would also, like, Sea of Stars was made by Sabotage Studio, and I'm loving it. And they've also made The Messenger, which I kind of want to play now because of loving Sea of Stars so much and just see those connections. But, like, if Sea of Stars was suddenly published by EA or Activision Blizzard or Konami, the budget's not going to get any bigger. Now they have a publisher to help them get the word out and everything. So, look, I'm not trying to take away from Dave the Diver. I've seen lots of people play it. It looks fantastic. And I know that people are having a lot of fun with it. But Dave the Diver did have advantages being a part of a bigger company that, say, Sea of Stars did not. It took them years to make that. and other games did not. It took them years to be made. And for a billion-dollar company to just, hey, we've decided that indie is now just, it doesn't actually mean independent, it's just a style. Yeah, I definitely disagree with what Aaron is saying. It's not a look and a feel, okay? If Disney suddenly starts copying, like, some YouTuber's animation and saying, oh, well, this is the style now. Disney's not making an indie animation anymore. They're just copying what's working and what people like to support. So that's my opinion. No shade at Dave the Diver. But I don't think it should fit in this category. I feel like it could have had more budget and more things, had a lot of support, and it's just, I just don't think it fits the definition of an indie developer. But this is an opinion show. What's your opinion? In the comments below, do you agree or disagree with Dave the Diver being nominated for this independent category? And regardless of whether you agree or disagree, what is your definition of an indie game? Is there a budget limit? Is there a team limit? Is there a size limit? Do you have to be external from major companies? Are you allowed to have a publisher, or do you have to do that on your own too? I want to know what your definition is, because this is a very fascinating, amazing question that I've got today. And I wasn't really planning on making a cow's opinion today, but this question just made me think, I don't know what the answer is. I have an opinion, but I don't know what the answer is, and I want as many answers as possible. So do me a favor, comment and ask other people what they want, because I want to know what is an indie game in 2023. And you know what else you can do? Oh, it's coming back. You can play more games. And hey, here's a list of, regardless of whether you agree that they're indie or not, here's a list of 5 really great games that you can play. Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. You guys should consider giving all of these a shot if you have not, because it is better to play more games, because games are awesome, and you deserve awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. I do wonder, I mean, it's such a fun game, man, but independent is a stretch. I don't know. I gotta check out Viewfinder too. Sad Hour Studios. Don't know. Sea of Stars is the only guy without a publisher. Look at that. Oh, hey. Whoa, you didn't list. Now, see, that's a little dirty, Dave. Dave the Diver getting a little dirty, not listing Nexon right here.